What's going on, guys? Renegade here. As you can tell, I'm in the studio and it's rather late, but I've actually been painting. For those of you who are newcomers, you might not know that as well as being a mechanic, I'm also an artist. In fact, art is actually my first love in terms of careers, hobbies, whatever you want to call it. And it actually leads into today's video. Little background. When I do my art, I don't set out just to do like a pretty picture that you can just stare at and, you know, feel serene and tranquil and zen. I actually set out to make art that have messages behind them. Messages and lessons that you can hopefully take away from the piece. And so that being said, it's kind of one of the things I've also said in previous videos about what I want to do with this channel, which is to grow it and to discuss more kind of personal things, but also important things that maybe you guys can take away a lesson or a message from in terms of life itself. So what I wanted to talk to you about today was actually, it's actually a very personal thing for me. You know, like I said, my art ties into it. Let me explain. This is my latest painting. All right. Now I've seen similar pieces out there in the world. This isn't by any means a completely new idea, new design, but I did take it and develop it a little farther than where it was. See, every time I've seen it online, it's always like this perfect smiley face that's been broken, revealing the skull behind it. But I really wanted to show the smiley face mask, so to speak, being more fractured and dirtier, and yeah. Of course, anybody that truly knows understands that this piece is about depression, and specifically masking your depression. Now, if you're not, you know, maybe some of you guys aren't exactly super aware of mental health disorders, so let me explain a little bit. Okay, for one, okay, I'm not an expert on this by any means, but I do know a little bit about what I'm talking about because they are things that I myself actually deal with. I was diagnosed many years ago with having major depressive disorder. So the things I talk about in this realm come from experience of dealing with it directly. So for those of you who don't know, a very common thing for people who are dealing with mental health disorders or mental health issues, especially at the time, in the moment, is to essentially put on a mask. And I don't mean like they literally, you know, take a mask and put it on. I mean, it's a figurative mask. You pretend. A lot of times you'll try and pretend that you're either better than you actually are, or that you're just okay. You know, either everything is good or at least nothing is that bad. And that's kind of the message here. It's okay. If you look, it says, it's okay. I'm okay. But if you look closer, it says I'm broken. One of the reasons that we do this, you know, those of us who have mental health disorders or might be going through an issue at any given time, is because, well, it's a bunch of different reasons. One of which is just trying to skate by and try not to ruffle any feathers, try and fly under the radar, just let the world go around you and just avoid it all. I've dealt with that many times. Another reason is actually something that I've dealt with a little more, and it's what has led me more to masking, and I'm going to talk about that more in a couple seconds. Is the fact that sometimes you want to hide your imperfections because you either don't want people to see that you're flawed, or that something's wrong because you don't want to be a burden to them, or because you know that they don't want to know. I'm going to get back to that in a second here, but you notice one of the things about this, the mask, the smiley face mask in my painting, which is the reason I want to do it like this, dirtier and more broken, is that it is broken. It's not in great condition. This mask is beaten up and fractured and dirty. It's because when you wear a mask like this, when you pretend that things are okay, it is extremely draining on you. You know, I've had days where I've, pretended that I'm okay at work, out in the world, around friends. Hell, there are days even on YouTube where some of you guys who've been watching for a while might notice that, like, maybe I'll put out a video and I don't quite seem to be all with it. I'm not completely on, so to speak. It's draining to do that. It's so exhausting, and it doesn't help you mentally. In my cases, it's actually more exhausting, and it hurts me mentally more to think, okay, I have to put on this mask because I have to present this. So as I said before, one of the reasons that people do this, they put on a mask for dealing with people, is because they are basically told not to let that show. And it's something I've dealt with quite a lot in my life. As I've said in previous videos, I've come from a pretty messed up family. My parents weren't exactly the greatest people in the world. I might get into that in another video, a little more detail. Don't worry, we're not talking like a Child Called It style. But so one of the big things that I grew up one of the big messages from my parents was always, it's okay to have feelings. It's okay to feel that way. Don't express it. And growing up as a kid dealing with mental health issues, although I didn't know it at the time, it wasn't until many, many years, being a young adult, that I was actually diagnosed and I had some idea. But dealing with that as somebody growing up, it's extremely rough. Being told that it's okay to have feelings, but don't express it. It's okay for you to feel that way. Don't talk about it. Don't let it be known. That in itself can seriously mess somebody up. And I know because I dealt with it. Dealing with something like that has led, frankly, to a lot of emotional scarring, a lot of emotional baggage, and a lot of bad reactions, coping mechanisms. I don't know the proper term for it. But I can tell you that having grown up with that, like I still, even though I'm becoming more aware as I try and look inward and try and figure myself out and figure out what all's going on inside my head. One of the things I realized is that I do deal with a very hard time with not being able to express myself. Again, I'm not a perfect example, but I give this as like a, hey, don't be like me type of example. I still deal with just the fallout from my parents telling me not to express myself when I wasn't feeling okay. To the point still where if I'm trying to express myself now about not feeling mentally okay, or whether something is upsetting me or whatever, and I can't express that, it like angers me to the core. And it's something it's something I constantly struggle with, but it's true. It's because I grew up with that. I grew up with the words of, it's okay to feel, but don't express it. Basically, if you're not feeling okay, pretend it's okay. Folks, that's not good. Don't do that. If you know somebody who has issues of any variety, don't tell them to hide it. If you do have mental health issues or just going through a rough time or whatever, don't hide it. Don't be afraid to talk about it. That's why I did this painting, because I want to bring more awareness to the idea of it's okay not to be okay. And if you're not okay, don't pretend to be okay. Don't hide it away, because it doesn't do anything more than hurt you. As I said, I've dealt with depression for a long time. I've dealt with a lot of bullshit, frankly, so I know what I'm talking about. But for those that don't have these problems, that don't deal with depression, and who don't deal with issues that kind of wear down on them mentally to such a severe level, don't be afraid to be open. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there to somebody and be that ally. Be that person just to talk to. Because sometimes just having someone to talk to express your feelings, your emotions, without a fear of judgment or getting yelled at or, whatever, that can be a huge, huge help to somebody. As I said, I grew up with the opposite. I grew up with, don't say that. Don't express that. Yeah, I could never go to my family and say, hey, I'm not feeling okay. Hey, I'm feeling depressed. Something's wrong. I couldn't quite do that. For a multitude of reasons, I don't want to, throw my sister under the bus, because she and I have a pretty good relationship. And even with my friends, I really didn't have a whole lot of friends growing up that I felt I could talk to about that type of thing. It wasn't until, high school that I started to feel like I could let my mask slip a little bit and reveal certain things to certain friends. If you deal with this, find somebody who you can be open with. And you want to know a secret? Oh, I'll tell you a secret here. It took me years to figure this out. If you try and talk to somebody about how you're feeling, when you're feeling down, when you're feeling beaten, and they give you a negative response, they tell you to shut up, they tell you you're being ridiculous, you're being dramatic, or they tell you it's okay to feel that way, but don't express it. Get rid of them. Because it's not worth your trouble and your frustration to have this friendship that they don't accept you. You need to have support. That took me years to figure that out. And I am incredibly glad I did now. So if you have mental health issues and struggles, find yourself somebody who you can be open with, who you can talk to, without the fear of being told to shut up. And if somebody comes to you, if you don't deal with those issues, and somebody does come to you and says, hey, I don't feel great, I'm struggling, I'm in a dark place, be open, talk to them. Don't push them away, talk to them, because it does make a huge, huge difference. That's the lesson. in this painting. If you put on a mask, it hurts. And there are people out there who every day put on a mask to pretend that they're okay when they're hurting. It's a simple lesson for today, honestly. And I hope you all take a positive message from this. And I hope you like this video. If you do like the video, if you like the message I'm putting out, make sure you hit the like button. That's it. In the future, maybe I'll do more videos like this. I want to do more videos like this and kind of talk about more important things that can be of more help to people. Because it's something I didn't have, so I want to be helpful. As always, if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. If you have a story about what you've dealt with, and you understand putting on a mask, or you've helped somebody, or if you're looking for help, you're looking for someone to talk to because you're feeling depressed about something, put it down in the comments. Let me know. You know, maybe we'll start a cool discussion about something, and I don't know, allow people to express themselves a little more. I'd love to see that on my channel. That'd be great. And obviously, if you like this content and you hope to see more of it, if you're not subscribed, please hit subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can notify when I upload a new video. It's all about expressing yourself, being able to express yourself, and if somebody comes to you, being open to listening to them. Because masking sucks. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay to be in pain. It's not okay to continue to hide it because you feel you have to. There you go. Till next time, y'all keep rocking and rolling. I'll keep taking care of business. See you next one.